Remember runners, it's not all about those legs. We got to get that upper body into it as well. That's why today we are working on an upper body strength workout for runners, really developing stronger shoulders for better posture and breathing mechanics and arm swing, your ability to hold yourself upright. Yes, all those things are going to happen. I'm going to give you 3 exercises in today's workout. I don't want to spoil the surprise though, so let's get into it. Now, why upper body for runners? Well, it plays a pretty important role in keeping us stable, balanced, and upright and running really well. What happens when we lose a little bit of core stability and midline stability, we turn into the runner that looks like this, kind of this mushy thing where if all of a sudden I've gotten a little soft here because I cannot stay upright very well, what happens is that my arm swing gets short, it goes away, my legs start to clip each other, and I start to get into that marathon shuffle, and things just generally get ugly. So I don't want to be this guy. Instead, I want to be this guy. I want to be able to bend and move, so it's not about being static, but I want a little spring, a little snap, and a little stored energy in there. One of the greater ways to develop that midline stability is by pushing things overhead and having to press and stabilize from here, having to pull from these positions, and you guessed it, that's what we're really getting into with this upper body workout. The other thing that does, just by learning how to stabilize the shoulders and go through different ranges, it gives our arm swing a bigger buffer so that we have just an easier time swinging our arms naturally. When we don't give ourselves that buffer and range of motion, everything tightens up, and this is my arm swing on the best of days. We don't want to get into that. So let's get into this workout. So today's upper body workout is going to consist of 5 rounds of 6 to 8 shoulder presses, 6 to 8 ring rows or rows with a TRX strap if you have one of those, and then 2 to 4 wall walks. I'm going to get into each specific exercise, but let's get started with that overhead press. Now, just demonstrating with this shoulder, with this PVC pipe, I'm very tall, and the reason why I love presses is because it immediately gets me into thinking about my overall posture. I've got that nice straight line from my ankles, knees, hips, shoulders to ears. Everything's in a nice aligned position. I've got this weight here, and I'm actually going to press up, not only over my head, but I'm going to have my chest push through underneath my arms so that when I finish this position, I have this extension of this good posture where all of a sudden it doesn't go just from my hips to my shoulders to my ears, but it continues all the way up here. What I'm trying to avoid is the press that looks like this, where the press is out in front of me somewhere. So I'm going to press all the way up, all the way back. What I really care about with my shoulder mechanics, and I'll be able to reinforce this in my ring rows as well, is shoulder stability. And just like when we squat, we don't want our knees to collapse in. What I don't want with my elbows when I press is for my elbow to flare out. So the way I create a little bit of stability and external rotation here when I press is not only press straight up, but squeeze my elbows in on the way up and then squeeze them back on the way down. You're gonna see the elbows start to flare, and then in both positions when things get ugly is that I might not only press this way and this way, but I actually might arch or do something kind of funky with the low back. So everything stays tight and connected together, elbows squeezed in, pressing all the way up overhead. I'm going to do this today with a set of dumbbells. Now with these dumbbells, I'm going to keep them in a north-south position all the way. That just keeps my elbows aligned, because notice if I turn the dumbbells, the elbows tend to go too. I'm going to press all the way up, all the way back down for those 6 to 8 reps. So our ring row is going to not only challenge this whole, midline core system as well, but it's going to really work on our pulling and our upper back and our shoulders. And simply put, we pressed over here, we're strong and stable, but a lot of times we just live in this position like this just throughout the day. When we get tired, this is the default. So when I work on any type of pulling exercise, it really helps me activate all this musculature that boom, keeps me upright. Now, here's a little secret. Ring rows are not easy pull-ups. They are hard as fuck. They can be really, really challenging. So pull-ups are great, but this specifically is a really important exercise. Now, I'm gonna step back. Hopefully you can still see me in there. Morgan's nodding, so you can still see me. And the way that I can challenge my ring row is just by how far, how upright I am. So if I walk my feet down a little bit, I can make this a little bit harder. I'm gonna start by pushing my hips up. And I deliberately want to be in an arched, extended position, not necessarily just a static, straight position. So I'm gonna be up here. And I'm gonna initiate this thing by pulling my elbows down towards my hips. Nice big chest. Notice that I'm not pulling like this. Notice that at this top position, my elbow is bent at a, tighter than a 90-degree ankle. My rings are up towards my face. Instead, what I want is a little bit more of an open 90-degree position, and my knuckles down closer towards my hips. This should look more like a push-up position here as opposed to something like this. To make this harder, I just walk my feet down a little bit more, and I notice all of a sudden I'm like, hey, this is pretty challenging. And then finally, this is as hard as a pull-up in my opinion. I can pull myself up all the way through in this position like this, making sure shoulders are back and down, initiating with the elbow. I've said that a few times, so it must be important. Now, our final exercise today is something called a wall walk. Little gymnastics trickery for some of you guys who've never gotten on your hands or done any type of baby handstand. Today is your day, it's gonna happen. Now, I've done this with a lot of different people over the years at all levels, so don't worry, I've got a wall walk that is gonna work for you. I'm gonna show you the full thing, and then I'm gonna show you how we can modify this thing. So I'm gonna start with my feet against the wall. Now, you can do this at home, just don't tell your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, or use an agreed upon door, and maybe go without shoes. I'm in a gym, so I'm gonna leave my shoes on. I'm gonna start in this full plank with my heels touching the wall here, and I'm gonna start by walking my feet up and starting to push my chest through my hands. Now the wall walk part is I'm gonna proceed to walk my hands in all the way. I'm gonna try to touch my nose to the wall, and then I'm gonna walk myself back out, back to that full plank position. That's the full movement. I'd like you guys to try 2 to 4. Now notice when I'm overhead, I'm very tight and connected all the way through. I'm not letting myself get too wonky and disconnected through the spine. So this becomes a shoulder stability thing, but a big toll on here. Now, to modify this thing, let's say I'm brand new, I've never done this thing before. I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start on this plank, and all I'm gonna do is put one foot up, I'm gonna put the other foot up, and I'm gonna hold this position, be like, whoo, I'm wall walking, and then I walk my feet right back down. It's a great place. The next thing I could do is take 2 steps. 1, 2, and then walk back out, and then come back down. You see there this is going. Instead of 2 steps with my hands, I could do 4 steps. I could do 6 steps. I could start to walk in to whatever's level is comfortable. No matter how far I walk, I wanna make sure, again, everything's tight and connected. I could tuck my chin, look up towards my toes, really press through those shoulders as I come in and come out. Now let's say I get up and I'm like, oh man, I don't know how to get down. I'm gonna pull the ripcord, tuck my knees, and then drop down that way, right? That's like pulling the parachute. But otherwise, I'm gonna try to walk fully out each and every time. So go ahead and try this workout, once a week for the next 4 to 6 weeks. 5 rounds of 6 to 8 shoulder presses with a pair of dumbbells, 6 to 8 ring rows, and then 2 to 4 wall walks. Now, rather than just go up in reps if the certain level of exercise you're doing is easier, grab a heavier set of dumbbells, right? Do a harder ring row, and then the same thing, do a more aggressive wall walk. And just by kind of staying within that rep scheme, we'll be able to further challenge ourselves that way. Of course, we're just scratching the surface in terms of what you can do for strength exercises for your upper body, but these are some of my 3 favorites, and they will make a big impact in your running. Hey, if you liked today's video, well then you will love our super in-depth running strength program, and you can actually give that program a shot for free right now for 7 whole days by clicking the sign up link in the description down below this video. If you like today's video, hit that like button for us. It's so helpful, it's just right down there. If you have any comments or questions, things that you thought of, things that you want to talk about, you want to share, put those down below. Sharing is caring, as we like to say. And of course, subscribe to our channel, guys. We got new videos coming out each and every week on run workouts, running strength, injury prevention, nutrition, marathon race strategy. We got it all. And all you need to do is hit that subscribe button and you will get those videos sent to you. Guys, I'm gonna take a break. I normally say I'm gonna keep filming, but I'm gonna take a break after this one. So I'll see you guys in the next video.